All right, all right, all right. Good evening, and welcome to Africa 24. And my name is Mzalendo. Kama kawaida, we are bringing for you a very, very, very nice show this evening. I've got some very interesting topics, things that are happening in our country, and especially the power games that are going on. And perhaps you'll have a time to have a call in. And tonight we are having a conversation that many Kenyans are already having quietly in their homes, on social media, and even in the street. The conversation is about where our politics is heading. I think you guys are worried where our politics is heading and whether something deeper is beginning to change, because when you look around, there is a growing sense of unease among the politicians, among the people of Kenya, and that is why I have assembled one of my favorite speakers, people who have been talking on the social spaces, and I really needed them to come here and elaborate on the incidents that they have seen and what they have witnessed in the recent times on what is happening in our country, especially the incident that happened to the senator for Vihiga. I mean, honestly, that is something that we need to discuss as Kenyans and look at it in all the perspectives. And joining me this evening is Julius. Thank you for joining us. Uh, Geoffrey, good to have you on the show as well. Gentlemen, welcome to Afrique 24. And some of you, this is the second time, first time being on this particular platform. Let me start off by telling you to introduce yourself. Maybe many people don't know you out there. Karibu sana, Julius.
Thank you, Nick. And again, thanks for this opportunity to share a conversation on Mzalendo, Freak 224.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So just as you said, I'm Julius Okello. I live in Austin, Texas, but Kenya is still home. So apart
Mm.
from following the domestic politics here in the
Mhm.
U.S., we are also focused on what's happening at the home front back in 254. And
Mm.
I'm hoping that today we'll be able to have a very good conversation. Uh, Probably kind of walk through some of the things that are happening right now and cover
Mm.
where our politics is taking us to, and what
Mhm.
are the chances that Kenya is going to realize this dream that Kenya has been hoping to realize since the days of Nyayo. You know,
Yeah.
because the Kenyans had a big dream, this big dream that was sold to so many Kenyans, ourselves included, about how Kenya is going to be a totally changed world. It will move very fast after, if only they could be able to remove Moi from power. If you remember that song, yote yawezekana bila Moi.
Yote yawezekana bila Moi.
Yeah. So now when we look back,
Mm.
we are asking ourselves, okay, wait a minute, are we better off really? You know,
Mhm.
as Kenya even moved an inch without
Mhm.
Moi. So
Mhm.
I think that becomes the hallmark of what the major concerns are right now that we are looking at.
All right. Thank you for the introduction. Let me also introduce my other guest, Geoffrey. Please, Geoffrey, introduce yourself and tell us where you are. And welcome to Africa 24.
Yeah, thank you, Nick, for the opportunity. This is pretty good. Discuss the current events in Kenya. I'm sorry, I'm in a place where there's a lot of noise, but at least I'm glad that I can take part in uh, the transformational discussion that is going on. There's been a lot of new updates in Kenyan news. Some are positive, some are negative. But again, we want to focus on our energy on making sure that whatever we discuss makes sense and can be actualized on the ground. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to a very great discussion. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, welcome and feel free. I mean, this is an open mic where we will discuss almost everything, but the most important issues will bring them forth. Let me start. Let me start us off here. There are those who believe what we are seeing today is just politics as usual, and there are those who feel that something is seriously not right. From where you sit, are you overthinking this, or we are beginning to see early warnings of what we saw in 2027, in 2007?
Yeah, sure. Because and I mean, the landscapes are different
Hmm.
because in 2007, again, the information landscapes were totally different as compared to 2026, 2027. So
Hmm.
if we look at what's happening right now, there's a lot of information and disinformation with the AI, artificial intelligence, also coming in place. There's a lot of creativity that's coming up, and it becomes very confusing because it's hard to tell what is what, who is creating the narrative, and what is the reason for the narrative. But at the same time, if we go back to the basics, I think we look at where we are 20 years after the 2007 incident where Kenya almost banned completely.
Hmm.
Uh, we are seeing yet again that 2027 is likely uh, to be a totally different
Hmm.
game, game as compared to the political chaos, just based on the rhetorics that we are hearing every single day, even amongst the legislators, amongst the voters, amongst the various players, all the actors that are in the political field right now. Nobody is really talking anything that makes sense, you know.
Hmm.
So apart from the fact that there's also the incumbent leadership administration that is in place. There's the and there's the and with a missing opposition. Parliament is in disarray. Senate is in disarray. There's lack of leadership in both houses, and and people really don't know exactly what's going to happen as far as whether or not will there be a Kenya existing after 2027 if things continue with the same heat that things are going right now.
All right, Julius, just hold your thought. Let me I'll come back to you later. Let me go to Geoffrey. Geoffrey, we have seen incidents that have raised serious concerns across the country, including the killing of Ongondo Were. Many Kenyans are in fear. This does not feel like an isolated event that just happened. I mean, this pattern has been going on and on, especially in areas where I come from, in Homa Bay, for instance. Ongondo Were was a member of parliament. This is not an ordinary person. And he died just like that. He was killed. And in his constituency, there have been a lot of allegations that surround uh, this guy, the late MP. From your point of view, are we dealing with isolated incidences, or is something more structured beginning to emerge in our politics?
Thank you, Nick. I think political assassinations, if you look at the history of Kenya, has
Mm,
been part and parcel of Kenya's DNA, right?
mm,
Uh, Political assassinations continue to happen all
mm,
over the world, uh, especially when people cannot practice competitive politics. So you find that political assassinations is really hard to know who to trust. Is it the person who wants to inherit the seat, or is it the opponent who
mm,
wants to beat you and cannot beat you? So
mhm,
that is an issue that I think it bites. It's like a blade. It bites both sides. I call upon the parliamentarians who pass the law to make sure that when they make those laws, that they also enforce those laws. By having police officers behind them does not mean that they themselves are protected against the goons and people who want to do harm. Uh, and so it really uh, pains most Kenyans that if a politician who is having security publicly paid by the taxpayers can be killed or can be attacked in broad daylight, then what about that lady who sells
that's
just
ordinary
tomatoes on the street?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about that lady that is worried about, instead of worrying about who's going to kill them, they're worried about who is going to steal the products and commodities that they're selling? Or what about that lady who is only worried about the kanjo, who is going to come and just take them? That is just one aspect of worry. But now, what about their life when they now make the profit, the little profit, and they're walking home, passing by the market, buying their things to go and make food for their loved ones? Who worries about their security now? So I think it brings us back to the basics. That what did we do? What did we do, and what did we inherit from the colonial masters? Have we make it better for our own securities, or are we making it just as a formality to have a security force? So police is supposed to protect people. Police is to police the community. But if goons walk in a coffee house
Mm-hmm.
when you're just sitting and having coffee and attack you in broad daylight, then obviously that is the basic failure of any society. So Kenya is completely back to the brinks in terms of security. There is no security. It is not guaranteed. It will not be guaranteed if we continue like this. And I think people are focused on re-elections and getting their seats because they care about how much they get paid and benefits and per diems and all that. But what are they doing to their community after they retire from politics or they lose politics and they come back to the same communities that they're supposed to serve and they didn't serve? How do they feel? So they need to go back to the core. I think
Yeah.
Kenya has a tendency of trying to compete countries like the US. That is fine. Competition is okay. But you must pass step 2, step 3 to go to step 1, step 5. You can't jump from step 1 to step 5. So Kenya is still in need of basic tenets like community policing, community security, and community neighborhood watch out and stuff like that. And another thing, the security apparatus that are supposed to investigate and enforce and arrest and prosecute, are they well equipped? Because we've seen the public providing evidence and witnesses, but we've seen the same cases being lost at the court.
Geoffrey, you've raised a very important point here. I
Yeah.
really want us to deliberate it because here we want to learn. We want to learn something. We want our people also to learn something. You talked about community policing. Can someone just tell our viewers back at home what is really community policing? What is really community policing? Because we've seen it happening in countries abroad, but back at
Yeah.
home, in your
Yep.
local area, there's no community policing. What is community policing, and how does it help? How does it help in communication?
I think community policing is first ensuring that you yourself, you're safe before you take your security for granted. Then once you're safe, you also ensure that your neighbor and anyone around you is safe. That is community policing. And community policing also include involving security apparatus, security institutions, security agencies, by making sure that they are not seen as people who are protagonists, but they are
Mhm.
seen as people who are there to protect life. They are seen as people who are there to make sure that businesses go as usual. You can go and buy whatever property you want, or anything you want, and then you can walk back home safe. That is
Yeah.
community policing. In this case,
Mhm.
there was no if someone is just having a cup of coffee, and goons can come in a place of commercial uh, property and attack a customer who is just having coffee. That is number one, the failure of community policing. Were there security guards at the gate? Because I've been in that mall.
Yeah. Security
What
cameras,
are there security
CCTVs.
cameras? Did someone raise an alarm that hey, we have people who look unruly and look weird? We need further police, intervention to make sure that whatever they're up to is not really interfered with, or no life is lost.
Yeah.
That is community policing. In this case, I've been to that mall. I sleep in Acacia. That place has the most security in Kenya, in Kisumu. How
Mhm.
goons can walk past that security, come and attack someone who's just having coffee? It's a detriment, and it's
Yeah.
also an evidence that they can walk to somebody's home in Yalenda and kill you.
Yeah.
They can
Right.
walk to your place in Tomboya and kill you.
Yeah.
So,
And how did they know that? How did they
Mhm.
know where to find this gentleman who was just having the senator who was just having tea or coffee or whatever it was at Java? How
Mhm.
did these assailants know where to find him? Must have been a tip.
Mhm.
Maybe they were tipped off by somebody, but who could have done that? Because I don't believe that ordinary Kenyans actually, just like Jeff is saying, I don't believe ordinary Kenyans can just decide to get out of their homes and waste their time by walking straight to going into a city like Kisumu with intentions to go look for a whole senator to attack. I don't think things happen like that. So it brings us back to the civility aspect of Kenya. Where is the moral campus of Kenya as it is today? Because the Kenya as it's constituted has a very brand new constitution, 2010 constitution that has a lot of provisions when it comes to public safety, security layers and penal codes that are also
Mhm.
enacted within the criminal act that is
Yeah.
supposed to help with anything, whether it's curbing against any illegal activities like criminal gangs, vigilantes, or just civilians that are just walking around the street, trying to cause some type of mayhem. So the question is, if you have just let's say for instance this wasn't a senator, this was just an ordinary
Yeah, ordinary
okay,
Kenyan.
ordinary
Julius
Kenyan,
someone.
yeah,
Mhm.
it at the mall in Java having a drink or whatever, and then they're attacked by another ordinary Kenyan. This the way the each and every most of these shops stores in Kenya have security posted outside their doors. Somebody should have seen. Somebody should have raised an alarm and said, "Hey, wait a minute! What are you doing? This didn't happen, and this is something that was happening to a whole senator. Where are all those security personnel that are based in this mall? Where were any of them? You know, and that brings us to the question of apart from just the community policing, the question is our law enforcement in Kenya, our
Mm.
law enforcement agencies, are they equipped, you know, both by personnel, intelligence, tools, presence? Are they equipped well enough to be able to do the one thing that they're supposed to do, which is to serve and protect? Are
Mhm.
they? That brings us to a very big problem.
Yes, and on top of what Julius is saying, this thing happened not just an ordinary Kenyan. This is a lawmaker who is actually a Senate. In the US, if I remember last time when Congress was attacked, it was an online status briefing to restore confidence
Hmm.
to the constituents about the status of security in the country.
Mm-hmm.
We have not witnessed the local police chief and uh, his associates giving us step by step of what happened, the
Exactly.
current status of the investigation, and the future of the investigation. The
Yeah.
reason I'm saying this is that we have to accept that Kenya has over 40 tribes. Now, the senator who was attacked apparently is from a neighboring tribe. These
And
people
a neighboring county.
and a neighboring county who is also
Yes.
aspiring as a governor for that county.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of metrics involved. There's the political angle from competitors from his neighboring place. There are people who believe that Kisumu is an ODM zone, and therefore, as a former deputy leader of ODM, is coming to mess up the massive votes of ODM in Kisumu and stuff like that.
Mm.
But the worst thing is that these are two neighboring tribes
Yeah.
who are intermarried and who
Yeah.
have a lot of commercial activities going on. What
And
are we doing to ensure that it is not about the differences between these tribes, but it's purely a criminal nature from goons that want
yeah.
to interfere with the life of a person?
Yeah.
We have to have a press briefing to restore confidence that this is not about who you and me versus you, like like that primitive experience we've had in Kenya. We've not
Now,
had the parliament led by the speaker, who I think was busy in a funeral somewhere, talking about what has happened to one of his legislators. We've not had the president of Kenya, who talks of security with his cabinet secretaries, and was still is permanent secretary for interiors, who is in charge of security, is from this region. He grew up in Kisumu. We've not seen them giving press briefing. So are they part and parcel of this goon for hire thing, or are they taking each other's life for granted? It's a question that is lingering on everybody's ear.
Yeah.
I mean, that
But
is
but
it.
but
Leaders
but
come in. Yeah, you wanted to say something. You have something
yeah,
burning.
I wanted to touch on something that I think Jeff didn't just say the word there, but you see, like, when it comes to criminal activities, like, because this is a criminal activity, this was an attack against a senator.
Mm.
So let's look at it holistically. If a crime is committed, we want to look at the motive, you know, um, who stands to gain from the
Mm-hmm.
crime,
Yes.
and the perpetrators, who are they, what would have been their motive for committing that particular crime. In this case, the senator was not in any type of business that has been disclosed that you could say was could be the reason, motivating reason that would attract criminals to look for him, assail him, and actually attack him. So if we go back to that, then the police have to come up and tell us that, hey, gentlemen, on a press briefing, they have to hold a press briefing, and they have to tell us exactly what what is their game, how are they going to approach this. And first, we want to know what was the senator doing there, right? Is entitled to be in any place.
Anywhere, the senator can
Yeah.
be anywhere.
Yeah, the
He's
senator
a
can be
Kenyan.
anywhere. But
Yeah.
did he have any security? Did he have
Mm-hmm.
any company? If he did have any company, did the company witness what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Do they even have persons of interest? Has the
Mm-hmm.
police even issued out any be on the lookout type of alert something that can be elevated to the highest level of security alert, saying that, hey, this and that is happening in this particular area in Kisumu, and this
Mhm.
is what the law, the internal security interior department is urging Kenyans to be on the lookout, so that everybody can be able to come in as a community to help with the investigation, to find out who are these people, where did they come from, where are they hiding. We have not seen any kind of strategy leading us towards something that is organized, like a well orchestrated and choreographed plan that is going to actually give us some sort of outcome. And I'm not surprised, because we haven't seen that kind of execution in Kenya ever. We don't see it. You ask yourself, what is the role of the police? What is the role of DCI? When do they come in? What is the role of whichever agencies that are that are also part of the Interior Department? So it's very disturbing that these are things that Kenya is taking very lightly. But
Mm.
but then again, ask yourself, uh, this Senator Osotsi, as was for the longest time, he was a deputy party leader of ODM. Kisumu is a very important base for ODM. Osotsi this senator has been to Kisumu back and forth several times, so many times, and you will not expect that anybody will be able to attack him just like that in an ODM zone. So what has changed? You know, since is it the ongoing wrangles between the two ODM factions that's causing that is that a reason for us to start looking at it and start suspecting? Okay, maybe the two factions are there's an issue. One is trying to go after the other, but I also don't think that is the only reason. Who could be pushing ODM to get into a fight like this one? There's so many variables, but these are important variables, and these are important leads that have to be followed.
A good point, good point. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching us from home, these are guys who are working in the security sector. They really know what security is all about. That is why I'm letting them tell us exactly what the procedure that ought to have been done in this mantra, in this particular incident. Now, Geoffrey and maybe Julius will go first. You've seen from that particular incident, there have been politicians pushing rhetorics like, this is our zone, don't come here, we don't need you here, don't step in Kisumu. Personally, I've been into Kisumu, and I don't know how you guys survive in Kisumu. That is a town where I find it very, very difficult to stay, even for a minute. I feel like it is so insecure. I feel like Kisumu is a very, very insecure town. You don't even see policemen around. You only see people walking around, and I don't see even a police in patrol, apart from maybe at night once in a while. Uh, Geoffrey,
Yeah, yeah. So
I know you love Kisumu so much. You've been in that particular hotel. I've been with you in Kisumu at some point, and I don't know how you survive. You've been in that particular area. Tell me, this is a very secure area where these goons walked in, beat up this senator, and casually walked out, and then they started running. Casually walked out. The most interesting part is that people were just watching them doing their thing.
Yeah.
How is our society? Have we accepted the new normal that we can live with criminals and it is okay?
Well,
yeah, I think
let,
first of all, I would like to get your mind out of the that Kisumu has issues and stuff. No, in Kenya, I think Kisumu is one of the most safest and
Ah,
nicest places to go because number one,
uh-huh.
Kisumu is home. It's Dala.
Mm,
People of Kisumu, majority of the people of Kisumu are very nice people. I've walked in the streets in Kisumu at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning without seeing police officers. And I have met locals and they have just said hi and we have talked stories and stuff. And it's just not nice. When I'm in Kisumu, I've seen people running, even women, doing their morning exercises at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and running. And that's a show that there's no security. There's no security issue in Kisumu. But be it as it may, nothing.
Maybe there are gangs providing security.
No, not really, not really, not really.
Maybe there are
It
gangs
no, it
providing
is. It's.
security.
I think that narrative has been used to bring Kisumu and the whole business of Kisumu down. It's been politically used to show that Kisumu is not safe, and that's why Kisumu has been lagging behind. But I'm telling you, you go out in Kisumu, walk out at night, and do anything. Nobody cares. Nobody robs you. Everybody's minding their business, and they're very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So, coming back to that place in Acacia,
Mm-hmm.
I sleep in Acacia a lot, and Java in Acacia is one of my best places to drink coffee. Why? They have good coffee. Secondly, I've been served by a Luo server, a Kalenjin server, a Kikuyu server, a Costarian server, a Western server, a Gusi server, Korea server. I've been served by everybody. And so it is more of uh, a multivariate in
Mm-hmm.
terms of tribal, atmosphere. It's not a Luo affair, but that is how we want Kenya to be. So Java is safe. It is one of the nicest places. They have nice food, nice coffee. It has a very good atmosphere. In fact, I meet a lot of people from the US that that go and use their Wi-Fi and do their online work. I met a friend of mine who is doing his doctoral studies and was actually working there the whole day. And my phone was running out of charge, and he had me asking for help, and he offered that I can use his phone charger, and that is Kisumu, and that is the whole of that place. Now, myself, I've had issues. There's a time, I think last time I was walking in Kisumu, and I walked all the way to Milimani, then I passed Sovereign, and I went all the way to State House in Kisumu. And there was no guard at the gate. And I was with a friend, and I walked past the gate and went all the way to the State House and walked around. And there was a cafeteria there, and people were drinking. And I said, no, I don't think that cafeteria appeals to me. So I walked out, and as we were walking out, we had four plain police officers following us. And then they called me, and I said, yeah. So when I came back, they asked me, what are you doing? I said, oh, I was walking around and I wanted to use the cafeteria, but I don't think it was worth it. So I'm going to Sovereign Hotel to have a drink. And within a minute, there's a uniform guy that came in. And when he came in with his G7 rifle. And he started pointing the gun at me. And I said, you want to shoot, you can shoot. But I don't know what you want to shoot. If I've done anything wrong and you're the police officer, arrest me and issue me, a charge.
Mm-hmm.
And so he kept pointing his gun and say, you want to break my job, whatever. And I said, I don't even know you in the first case. Secondly, if this is a no trespass zone, and you as a guard, and me, I'm a former military guy, a guard never leave their post until they're properly relieved. So it means that you really broke the orders that you have as a police officer to serve. I don't care whether it's a state house or anywhere. If it's you are guarding somewhere and that's your post, you cannot leave. So anyway, we all ended up talking, and their superior came and told them no, and then I had to just walk away. But I told him, I have done that security work, but you never point a rifle at a public, anyone who is in public. You never point a gun to nobody, and that's wrong. And what you've done to me and her, I was a friend. You have traumatized her. I'm used to it, but you cannot do that. So again, you find that the law enforcement will break law, and the
Mhm.
locals will not break the law.
Mhm.
So Kisumu is a nice place. I invite you next time to come with me to Kisumu, and you will change your narrative on that.
Yeah,
But
and
but 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 I wanted to talk about the zoning.
yeah.
Uh, there's nothing to talk
You guys,
about it.
you guys are running too fast. You are running too fast. I
No,
don't.
no, no. There's nothing to talk about
No,
zoning.
it's,
You know
this
why?
one is.
Because Kenya, first of
We
all,
let us.
the people who are talking about zoning are coming from a party that the champion of multi-party democracy, who was just buried the other day, formed a party, and he formed a party so that you're free to vie and run on any party. So when it comes to zoning, then what are we doing? We're creating one party states in different counties, or what are we doing? So you know what? Serve the people, do the right thing, campaign, and let people revote you for
Yeah.
all you have done. But you cannot restrict nobody from running with any party anywhere in Kenya. Kenya is a multi-party de jure state. Okay,
Exactly.
yeah.
All
And
right,
you know,
Julius, I think you need to jump in that and tell us
and,
whether we are
right.
moving to
So
one party state,
so
or what is William Ruto trying to do by killing all these political parties to join the broad-based government. If all the political parties join the broad-based government, what is he saying? What signal is he trying to tell Kenyans? Is he trying to bring us back, take us back a few steps back during the Moi era, where we had only one party called Kanu? If all these party fold shop and they join a UDA, what happens to our democracy?
so you see the again, Nick, it takes us back to the core of our conversation, which is the where are we headed as a country? Because first we have to look at ourselves as a country, and Kenya is a devolved country right now. Being devolved means that there there are lower levels of government, like the county government,
Yes,
the
exactly.
that actually take the yank off all the weight from the national government. So the national government doesn't have to show presence at the county level when it comes to certain key areas. But the most important, but one thing is this, and I want to circle back to this. You see, the national security still falls under office of the president, and the jurisdiction is does not fall in the hands of the county administration. So which means that the county administration don't have any way of oversighting security apparatus in their own counties. Now let's get back to the fact that we are a democracy. You know, initially during before the repeal of Section 2A, which allowed Kenya to move from being just a de jure state and become a multi-party uh, political outfit. Kenya as a republic is supposed to be a republic for all Kenyans. I live in Texas. The state of Texas is slightly bigger than Kenya, and there's one governor with a small assembly, that actually runs the whole state. But you will not find the governor going to different cities and trying to interfere as a governor. And you will not find the president at the federal level, President Trump, coming to interfere with a local county, because the local county, the sheriff will say, "This is my county. You cannot come in and interfere in my county." So the cost of the aspect of ownership is where we are failing. Either A, we have not been able to interpret the 2010 constitution correctly, so that we can be able to enforce it the way it's supposed to be, or we just don't understand what devolution means. And I think part of it also is the lack of knowledge and education, because we have governors that have not been properly trained on how they can be able to administer a county. You know, now if you look at a county like Kisumu, for example, we have a very qualified person, Professor Nyong'o. And I think, to his credit, Professor Nyong'o is doing an excellent job, because Kisumu County is one of the fastest developing counties in Kenya. And and I think that when you look at what is the Nyong'o strategy, when it comes to maintaining the county as a safe county, and Kisumu City itself being the capital of that particular county, being one of the safest cities for tourists to be able to visit, I think he's done a tremendous job. There's a time that he even uh, participated in the launching of that Engage platform, where people could come up and talk about their experiences in Kisumu, you know? And because of that, that tells us one thing, that Kisumu, Homa Bay, all these cities, Migori, these are not violent people, you know? The violence is not coming from the people. These are people that the violence is being brought to these people. But the question is, who are the enablers, who are triggering this violence, and to the point where now they're talking of, oh, if you are a politician and you're not speaking the same language, you're not on the same playbook with them, then you're deemed as an enemy. That there lies our problem, because Kenya is supposed to be a democracy, a multi-party democracy, which means that if you belong to Jubilee, for example, you belong to UDL, you belong to whichever party it is, you can be able to, you can travel to any part of the country and talk politics, or even play your politics without any concerns about your security. You should be allowed, as long as, of course, if you're going to mobilize a large crowd, then you need to notify the local law enforcement, or just for public safety, just in the event that maybe some people can come in to disrupt your meeting. But there should be no reason for anybody in Kenya to say that this is a place that belongs only to us. When you say to us, are you meaning us as in terms of your party, or us in terms of your tribe, or us in terms of your Kenya as a whole? You know. So my take on the zoning part, again, I share the same sentiments with Jeff, because uh, uh, you cannot say that one particular constituency or region only belongs to one particular party. No, every single party, regardless of how many political parties are licensed nationally, they should be able to have the freedom to go to any particular county, any particular ward, any particular district, and actually participate in any political competition that is going on. You know, we should not hear any MPs talking about zoning, because MPs or senators or MCAs, these are conflicted people. You know, they're conflicted in the sense that they will be talking for their own self-interest, to protect themselves. They will not be talking for the best interest of the country, of the people. And I think that's one thing that we as Kenyans actually have to go back and enforce that, because accountability and responsibility, those are two things that must go hand in hand. We don't want a situation where the police are coming in. I mean, politicians are coming in and dictating to Kenyans the direction that Kenya needs to take. No, this is a public participatory strategy. Every single Kenyan has a right to say, where do we want our politics to go? Not some merely elected member of parliament or senator or member of county assembly or a governor or a president should be able to dictate to any Kenyans what they really, how they should be able to play their politics. Their job, which Kenyans have given them the mandate for, is to ensure that public safety becomes key number one. Every Kenyan should be able to feel very comfortably, free, and secure, whichever area they are, to that they're not going to be attacked by some hooligans or some goons from nowhere. If just because they're sitting in a Java coffee house and enjoying their drink, or just even relaxing, somebody shows up from nowhere and they attack you for no reason. We have to be sure that we have the right people in these offices, people that understand that this is the 21st century, this is not the 19th century, you know.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
on the contra, in addition to what Julius is saying,
Yes.
is that yes, they want to talk about zoning. That's fine. Everyone wants to protect their seat, right? Nobody wants how do you say, a competitive run because they don't want to probably lose their seats. But what we want to know is that they were recently talking about re-electing the president, two term. They need to be telling us what is it, what is it for the local people, the most vulnerable people in the community, the
Yeah.
illiterate people, the ignorant people, and maybe the low earners.
Students,
What is
you know.
this, and the students? What is it that the re-electing a president is going to change or transform their lives? That is what politicians or elected leaders need to be telling us. We don't want to hear that, oh, I don't zoning. I don't know why even where they come with this word zoning. I don't think they even understand, first of all, what zoning means.
Well, they're copying it.
You cannot politically zone a country. A country is don't they say, I always hear them saying, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya. Do they understand the word republic? Republic means it's a one unitary state. And
Exactly.
therefore, when they want to zone a republic, are they zoning it selfishly and creating these words for illiterate people? Because I'm seeing these things online that zoning, zoning, zoning. I don't think it is the right use of the word zoning.
Mhm.
What they need to talk about is what is it in the pact of ODM and UDA in re-electing Ruto, because re-election of Ruto is re-election of Ruto. It's not re-election of an MP, an MCA, a governor, or a senator. Everybody must tell people the way they're singing this chorus of two-term re-electing Ruto, they
Mhm.
need to sing for us a two-term chorus for re-electing them. Because what do they do for people on the ground?
Yeah.
And what did they do for their oversight role, which is the major role in Parliament? What bills did they introduce? And how did they, become safeguards and watchdogs and
Right.
custodians of their constituents in the National Assembly to protect people from excesses of the executive, abuse of the public resources, and also public theft from public coffers. That's what we need to hear from MPs, because this is a political position. It's not, first of all, it's not permanent and pensionable. I hear that they're now pensionable. When you're going into politics, you're going into politics to serve people and get paid for what you're doing, and after that, get the hell out. You're
Yeah.
not going to retire and get pension from politics. That has ended when their leader died, because their leader was stayed in power forever, stayed as a politician forever. I think the new Kenyans, the young people, and
Mhm.
even us, we believe in progressive leadership. Do your term, get tested. If you can deliver,
Get out.
go for re-election, and if you don't win, go back home. Do your things. Let
Yep.
the next person who wins move on, because you were given a chance and you failed. Like now they have failed.
Yeah.
So, in other words, the word zoning, I urge all Kenyans, even those who are illiterately or ignorantly using that word, to stop using that word.
Yeah.
As a scientist, it is a wrong word to use, and it's not applicable politically. Everyone must fight their own. Now, one of them said the other day, "Oh, even in the U.S., there's
Well, Kenya
there's
is not the
the red
US.
state and the greens and the blue state." Well, even the blue state have Democrats running against them. The red
Exactly,
state had
exactly.
blue state people running against them. There is no word like red zoning and blue zoning. So please desist from using that word zoning. We are tired of using important words for political selfishness. People
Yeah.
need to tell us what is in the pact between UDA and ODM that is going to help someone right now in Homer Bay who did not get medicine is in the hospital. The doctor was not there. Who wanted dialysis? The dialysis machine failed. There's no one running the dialysis. Who had to run to Kisumu? to seek further help, same thing. Who are to be flown to Nairobi, same thing. That
Yeah.
we need to know what are they doing with public money. Public money is not for business classes going to developed countries or running in Kisumu or hiring private jets or choppers. What have they used our money for? That
Yeah.
is what
And
is this election going to matter. What
All
have you
right.
used the public
All right,
money for?
Jeffrey, all your thought. Let Julius come in. Julius, I know you have something
yeah,
that you need to add on there.
and I think Jeff just touched something that I would like to touch on very briefly. That's on the idea of this where the self interest is coming from.
Mhm.
You see, I was just reading something not too long ago, and this was about some of the bills that Parliament passed for self-interest reasons. Like back in 2022, Parliament went and pushed for a bill that was supposed to protect them from being able to pay taxes on some of the grants that they get, like the car loan, property loans that they're given when you become a first member of Parliament. Now the question is this,
And a home and a home mortgage.
right? Now
Actually, it's not a mortgage.
yeah,
It's a grant.
It's a
think
grant.
about it. Yeah,
You don't pay it back.
right. So think about it. So
Mhm.
first of all, that's a wage bill. That's a huge burden on the taxpayers. The question that we should have been asking ourselves, even when 2010 constitution was being put up, was does Kenya really need to have wages for their member of parliaments? Are we looking at them as employees of the people who elect them, and therefore do they need to be getting paid by the same tax shillings that Kenyans are contributing towards to the treasury? And to me, the answer is no. Every single elected member of parliament or senator, member of county assembly, should not have a salary. They should be allowed and encouraged to maintain their jobs that they were doing before they got elected, or if they were running their own businesses, they should be able to be allowed to continue doing what they were doing. Now, there should be a constitutionally mandated provision that defines the legislative sessions, just like we do here in the U.S. Legislative sessions should be defined in the Constitution when it's likely to happen in terms of the start date and the end date. And during that period of time, that's the time that every single representative is eligible to earn some sort of allowance. And that allowance should also be defined in the Constitution. The minimum and the maximum. Actually, the max it should be capped at a certain amount. Now, I know that most people might say, no, but that's impossible because these people are going to parliament to do some work. No, these people don't do any work in parliament. How many bills
But
have been?
Julius, hold on your thought there. You are saying that senators in the U.S. do not earn a salary. Explain. I don't think so. I
Yeah,
don't
but
think so. They
but this
earn a
is
salary. They
no
earn a salary.
the
I
senators
think
are
what Julius means is senators in the
in
state.
the
The
state.
state legislatures don't
Oh,
earn salaries.
So in
yeah.
this
The
case,
state.
in
All
this
right.
case, we'll be looking at maybe member of county assemblies. But this is my point. Listen to my point.
Mm-hmm.
Given the number of the population of Kenya right now
Yes. True.
versus the gross national product, the total revenue that Kenya generates on its own, as this is our money
Mm-hmm.
that we are going to use for either running operations of running the country, delivering services, doing projects, and all that kind of stuff. If we prioritize all that money towards improving all the infrastructure in terms of education, healthcare, roads, bridges, uh, transit systems, schools, administrative places, and all that kind of stuff, I think Kenya would be a better place. What if we took that money that we are paying MPs uh, for every single month? MPs, some of them don't even show up in parliament to debate or even to go through bills. A lot of them don't even read. and they don't have a way that they're accountable to their own constituents to show that, hey, this is my contribution towards this particular bill. They don't even hold town halls, Nick, even to explain to their own constituents that, hey, this and that bill has been proposed. This is the background to this particular bill. This is how this bill will be able to help you guys as my constituents. They don't have those kind of educative sessions. So why are they being paid? Why is an MP, say, for example, being paid, or a member of county assembly being paid, and there's not a single bill that has been raised in the county assembly by any member of county assembly that is going to help the constituents? Why should they be paid? So when we look at where everything is going wrong, that's the genesis of where things are going wrong. And I think that as constituents, we need to re-engage and come up with a new strategy on how we can be able to claim ownership of our legislative process in terms of how do we participate? Who do we elect? When we're electing somebody, what are we looking at? Are we looking at how loud that person can talk, or how much that person can dance on a podium, or how much that person can yell? Or are we looking at somebody that's informed, that somebody that seems to can resonate with the voters, and also understands the core issues that voters are going through every single day, like the kitchen table type of economics, in terms of how much is what's the cost, what's the affordability rate for cost of products that they buy every single day from the markets, school fees, healthcare costs. When you take your patient to a hospital, do you have the money? And all those services that they're being told when you go to a hospital. Do you know what happens first when you take a patient to the hospital? Even before the doctor sees that patient to try to diagnose what the symptoms and what could be the root cause, they're already giving you a lot of headache by telling you, oh, go get for us this scan, go get for us this scan. And these scans, you have to pay for them. Why aren't the hospitals having well-equipped radiology centers where all these scans are easily available? Why should we promote individualized private entities running radiology services, and patients are being referred to these places? By the time the patient, an image is brought back to the doctor translates it, the patient is already dead.
Very sad. Very,
Yeah,
very
and
sad.
these are things that are not being addressed by the member of county assemblies. The governor does not talk about these things, and there's not a single person. I'm told that county governments also nowadays have people that they call themselves ministers. What is the role of a minister in a county government? What do they do? Because
where you come from, there's a minister for mining.
Yeah, what do they do? Yeah, why do we need a minister for mining? Why do we need a minister for even education or healthcare? So there's a lot of waste. If I was to go to Kenya, let's say, for example, if I was to go to Kenya and just consult on how we can be able to transform that country, there's a whole lot of things that I would just be able to push on the side and say, this, we don't need this.
All right. Julius, you are the governor. I'm giving you a minute to tell me. You are now the governor of Oma Bay.
Nick, let me add something.
Yes, that's
something. So we are talking about paying them salaries. In the United States, the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Senate pay salaries, because if you really log in Congress, you actually see House of Representatives and Senators in the House debating issues. Contrary to you log in Kenya, you find normally 4 senators.
4 senators, unless
and when you go to Parliament, normally 3 or 4 members of Parliament. Yet, they spent a lot of money to make some nice, fatty, ugly seats for them. Now, no. These people, this guy's got to be voted out, man. They got to go.
Yeah,
they got to go. I mean, look, where
these guys get fat paychecks and don't attend parliamentary business. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And
Do you know? Do you
and
know?
that's
Do you
it.
know there?
That's
Do you
it.
know
For
there are members
example,
of parliament? Do you know there are
it,
members of parliament who have never spoken in parliament apart from taking the oath?
and
Numerous.
I have friends who
Numerous.
said that they actually rush, they sign on the
And they go.
roster because
And then
they
they
want
leave.
to be paid, and then after that they go run their business. No, no, no. They gotta go. They
Yeah.
gotta go. For Kenya to move on, they gotta go.
Yeah.
How are we going? How are we going to remove? How are we going
That's
to?
why things like
No, this
zoning must come to an end.
that's
Things like
exactly.
zoning must come to an end.
And
Things like
we have to
party supremacy must come to an end.
yeah.
People must elect even independents, but people who really want to serve the people.
What is the what is the good what is the positive side about removing the zones and allowing other political parties
Please
where
don't use the word zoning
Don't
because it pisses me
think
off.
look at it
That
from this
that word
angle,
don't
Nick.
exist.
no yeah yeah
Look at it
Yeah.
from this angle. What is the positive side of having a devolved government and multi-party system in place?
you know, first of all, Julius, people need to understand why we came to we have multi-party democracy in Kenya, because
Hmm.
in the in during Moi's era we had one-party state, and resources were skewed to where he got his support most.
Right.
Now, so the political players then were thinking, and they said, okay, fine. People like Dr. Crispin Mbai, who wrote the chapter of the great son of Omabe, who wrote the
Hmm.
chapter of
On
devolution.
devolution.
This guy came up with that chapter.
No, no, Nick.
Wait.
The evolution was not to devolve political parties to
Wait,
the
wait,
village.
wait,
The
wait, wait,
evolution was to
wait,
devolve
wait a minute.
executive power from the top to
I
the local people. Let us know. Let us
that,
have a
that no no
distinction.
listen.
No,
That was
let's
the
have a distinction
you
between
know the
devolution and political party. Political party is to represent the people. Devolution
now
is to bring services to the people.
do you know
Politicians, especially
do you
ODM
know
politicians,
okay I
want
need
to
you to
bring
answer me. Do you
the
know the
wrong
reason why Mbai
terminology.
was killed? Do you know why he was killed? Mbai was killed. Do you know the reason why Dr. Mbai was killed? Do you know that the current chapter of devolution is not what he intended it to be?
I think Bai was a victim because he wanted to bring executive power from Kikuyu mafia back to the people.
No,
At
they
that
didn't
time,
understand. They didn't
they didn't
understand what
understand
devolution was all
what
about.
devolution meant.
Yeah.
Devolution was not to get presidential powers out. No, it was to ensure that services goes to even that lady who sells samaki on the street. Now, in terms of political party, there is nothing like devolution on political party. What is going on in Homa Bay today is what they fought against Moi at the national level. One party state in Homa Bay, one party state in Machakos, where Kalonzo comes from, one party state where Ruto comes from. They have brought tribalism to the local parties so that they get political parties fund. That's what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
Kenyans, number one, they must go back to a referendum to defund political parties because political parties don't add value to us. Secondly, to stop the issue of this. This is ODM zone. This is this. So anyone who is not from ODM zone should not run. Or if you're in an agreement with ODM, you should not run. No, that is wrong.
Yeah.
People must run and people must be free to exercise their democratic rights.
That's right. So and again, I think, Nick, one thing that I was see what just to finish the trend, my train of thought from the angle of selfishness amongst member of parliament. So in 2024, in 2022, after MPs voted not to exclude themselves from being taxed, guess what? KRA insisted, no, you still need to pay taxes. So KRA went to court and said, no, you still there's every citizen, every taxpayer, every Kenyan, every person who is earning a salary or some sort of income needs to be able to pay taxes. And because these car loans that they were getting, which was about, I think, about 7 million. They wanted this 7 million not to be taxed, and you know that the way this thing was designed is such that if you're no longer an MP, you take that car, you can continue finishing paying it off, but you retain it. But this car was bought by taxpayers' money, which means that if you're no longer an MP, then you should now go back and start paying for these taxes. And it should be retroactive, in fact, from the time that you stop being an MP. What they realized is that no, KRA is doing a bad job against them. So they went back into parliament and passed another bill, another law to protect them so that they could be shielded from having to pay taxes, and they should be considered as non-employees. You see, so when you think of the level of effort that these people are willing to go just to protect themselves, but they will not do the same to protect their own constituents. Look at how many strikes we've had from teachers, doctors, several other categories of personnel in Kenya. People who are going on strike not because they hate their job, but because they're not being paid. Look at a county like Homa Bay. There's always 2 to 3 months delay before they get paid. These are people who go to work every single day. There's zero accountability. So when we say MPs do not deserve to be paid because that is putting a huge wage bill on the taxpayers, we know what we're talking about. They should not be paid, and that will make people genuine people that actually really want to serve Kenya at that level as representatives. Because if you're vying for an office in Kenya to be a member of parliament, what are your reasons? What are the motivating factors? Do you want to serve the constituency that you're coming from and the country that you so love, or do you want to serve your self-interest? Look at what they've done with the CDF. How many constituencies are benefited from CDF? Very few. You know, you can find a constituency in like Homa Bay, for example. Let's say Homa Bay town. Do you know the list of contractors that are being paid from this CDF, where they come from, how they're related with maybe the member of parliament of Homa Bay town? We don't know. And the same, and now go across the whole nation in each and every constituency. It's a scam.
CDF is a scam. CDF is a scam.
It's a big scam.
Now the worst part of it, Julius. Let me just.
I think CDF is it's a scam right now, but I think the at inception, what Kibaki, I think attempted to do was to bring money to the local level so that people can feel it. But I think it became a scam the day it was put on the hands of politicians.
Yeah.
And I think political players, they're not managers. They're supposed to be oversighting. They're supposed to be legislating. They're supposed to be providing, representation. They're not supposed to be managing public funds. That is the work of the executive. I think the executive under the office of the president should actually be the one who creates a regulatory authority, which I think exists. That is the CDF authority, is the one that needs to be independently working on CDF under the transparency and under the auditing of the public auditor, because there's a lot of funds involved in that. I think every CDF, every constituency must give their constituents a monthly financial statement on how much money was used and who used and the whole procurement system, and then can also how much money is left for the fiscal year.
Mhm.
Because what I see they do is they take CDF administrators and the office of CDF in every constituency to Mombasa every month to what?
Yeah.
To be pampered, so that when they're being pampered,
With
money
what
can be
money?
stolen and they will not be talking. That
Yeah.
the work of CDF is not for benchmarking.
Mhm.
CDF hires people who are already experienced. CDF is supposed to help people on the ground. It's
Yeah.
supposed to help people who will not have had the opportunity to see the president and the way he does his budgeting and all that.
Yeah.
CDF is also supposed to help that local kid.
Is CDS supposed to pay school fees?
Yes, there's a bursary on CDF. It's
I don't, I
supposed
don't,
to
I
reach
don't, I
out.
don't, I don't think that
No,
is the
no,
work
no,
of the.
no.
I
It's
don't
not.
think that is the work of the member of parliament
No,
to
no,
pay.
no,
It's
no.
not.
No,
It's
that's
not.
why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying we should get it out from the hands of parliamentarians.
Yeah.
Did you know that right now it is in the constitution?
No,
There's no way
it
of
is in
taking
the
it out.
constitution, but they are trying to delineate it
Yeah.
from parliamentary, responsibility. A member of parliament actually by law is not in charge of CDF, but they're the patrons of the CDF fund, which means that you have to sing to the tunes. He who calls the piper calls the tune, right? So if the patron is not liking the tune, then a patron can create things and the CDF office can be fired and go. So what I'm saying is that the way the chief DO commissioners and all that are so independent, they don't listen to the parliament. That's how CDF is also supposed to be.
Right.
It
So
should be put under the auditors
yeah.
general. It should actually be put under the
Exactly.
auditors general.
Oh, all right,
Yeah.
thank you, Jeffrey. And I wanted to add on what you just said about, because I'm so passionate about this issue of bursaries being given out to members of parliament. I strongly feel that members of parliament should legislate. And you wonder, I have called my member of parliament several times that why can't you draft a bill on free secondary education so that you don't have line up our parents to give them a check of 10,000. The money that is being given on CDF can finance the secondary education for the whole country. The money that they give only on CDF in terms of bursary allocation can finance secondary education. But our MPs are so reluctant. And right now, the wage bill is bloated. The senators have got a similar CDF that they have passed. The women rep have got a similar kind of CDF that they are being allocated. The MCAs have got a similar CDF that they have got an allocation for bursaries. The governor has got allocation for bursaries. MP allocation for bursary. MCA allocation for bursary. Senator has got an allocation. And these guys, they entertain us each and every time that
So
they are
that
our leaders.
so
Hmm?
that's where that there lies the problem.
Hmm?
Because there lies the problem.
Can
Because
all of these
because
people have got allocations.
because they're looking at CDF not as a constituency development fund, but they're looking at CDF as a source of revenue for them, for self-interest. Now let's circle back to again regulations. So
Mhm.
Geoffrey said something to do with having a process in place that ensures regulatory measures and
Mm,
compliance.
mm,
CDF can continue to exist. It's a good idea. The thought is good. But CDF should not have any way and means of handling cash. This should be handled by either the National Auditor's Office or the Comptroller of the County Comptroller's Office, if there was an office like that. But we
mhm,
don't have an office like that. There should be a central compliant office that is under auditor's office that ensures that they are the ones who sign the checkbook. No single officer, including MPs, should be able to have any remote access to being able to sign a checkbook and withdraw that checkbook and cash, or even have access to any type of cash that is coming off from CDF, because that should be very strictly stipulated in the statutes that if an MP benefits from CDF funds, even by 10 cents, that MP should be, whoever it is, should it immediately be put under investigation, because that's abuse of office, that's misuse of public funds. The same thing should apply to any single government or county money that is meant for other purposes. If money has been appropriated for specific uses, because that's what Parliament does. Parliament is the one that holds the checkbook. So once Parliament passes the appropriations bill, and that appropriations bill is sent to various ministries and various and counties for whichever allocations that are going, that money should be used for the intended purpose. If you want to use it for something else, then you have to go back to the original source, which is Parliament, and give a convincing reason why you want that money to be appropriated for something else or allocated to something else. But that is the problem, because you find like maybe money was allocated to pay salaries for county employees, and then maybe the governor and maybe their team decide, oh, let's take this money and use it for something else. And let's not pay salaries right now because that is not important. So now employees are going without pay, and you're using this money for some other use which it was not intended for. And maybe that particular use was not even in the list of the appropriations. So which means you're really abusing the law. Why are we not having those kind of restrictions? We don't have those kind of restrictions because there's no accountability. There's nobody's taking ownership. So when we come back to restructuring and transforming Kenya so that Kenya can be a functioning state, we have to go back.
Singapore. We are
right. We
Singapore.
have to go back to the basics. We have to ensure that we have laws in place that are very harsh when it comes to misappropriation or even theft of public resources. And that includes even using government vehicles. If you use anything that belongs to the public, and you're using it for any other use other than the intended use, then that automatically puts you in jeopardy. That should be from the very same junior employee of government, both county and national, to the very top at the president level.
Now, before we wind up, there's the top story that is happening in our county and in Kenya right now. We started with the story of Osotsi being beaten up in Kisumu. Now, we have got a situation that is happening in Homa Bay where there is a rift between Raymond Omollo and leaders like Babu Owino, Gladys Wanga, and all that. And this goonism that is being sponsored, people are saying that most of these goons are sponsored by political players, like the ones that attacked Osotsi. They must have been sponsored and protected by a political player. What is your thought in this? I mean, should these political players be arrested? Because these goons were throughout the country, they are sponsored by the politicians who are either in parliament or in the Senate. We have seen them even coming on TV and saying that you demonstrators, if you step in the city, we are going to deal with you. These are goons that the government have tolerated for so long. What is your take on that, Geoffrey?
I think it starts from where Julius was talking about managing our financials. I think politicians have a lot of money. They have access to
CDF.
To CDF. They have access to per diem. In fact, when they travel, one was saying the other day when they travel to the US, they get $1,000 a day, right?
$1,000 a day.
which I was a senior government U.S. government officer. All we had per day was not more than $40, right? But you still have to use your money and provide
Yeah, you
receipts
have
to
to
get
use
that
your
money
money.
back.
You have to use your money to buy
Mhm.
your own car. You have to
Yeah,
use your money to look
right.
for your own house.
But you
Yeah.
see, per diem is not a salary. Per diem is money you're given because you've gone out of your home to perform public function. That is per diem. But right now in Kenya, per diem is used for making extra cash, and they will fake their ways to make money. So what am I saying? All these monies come back to a lot of money to do nonsense, and that's why
You
they
have
have
forgotten about mileage allowance.
mileage allowance. Fake, in fact, fake. Right, they're being given
They-
allowance to go to their constituencies. Not most of
Can
them
you
don't.
imagine you are being paid to go to work? You're being
Yeah.
paid by the government to
Hmm.
wake up in the morning,
Hmm.
That,
given a car for free,
Hmm.
that's
and
Hmm.
what
drive,
And you're
that's the
given
and
que-
as
then
a police officer.
sit
yeah,
Hmm.
down, and you are
that's the
paid
question.
to sit
That's the
down.
question that Kerry asked. Kerry asked the court of appeals that
No,
ordinary Kenyans are not given any money to go to work.
yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not.
So
Then
yeah.
their employees
Hmm.
in Kenya are not given anything so that they can be able to use to buy anything. They use their own salaries. Why can't MPs be done the same?
Yeah. So I was saying this,
Mhm.
that if you look at all these things, right, then you want to question goons. No, there's money to pay them, right? There's money to pay them. So what
Good
do?
one of
We have to nip the bud. Nipping the bud means that the source of funding this nonsense must be enforced.
Mhm.
And therefore, like I was in the US, I work for US government. Every 5 years they do national security background security clearance, where they see where you take your money. If you're doing using it for negative stuff like terrorism and all that, you're not fit to hold public office. The same thing needs to be done for these politicians. They need a proper auditing every 2.5 years, because they're in office for 5 years. Every 2.5 years, if your money is channeled to an organization or to an individual who is violent, then you are subject to legal prosecution. We need to start having basic tenets of protecting our interests. But right now, Nick,
Mhm.
they have a lot of leeway and they have a lot of money. And this will continue happening. In fact, 2027 is going to be worse. They don't sit in parliament, they get sitting allowances. They don't go to their constituencies, they get traveling allowances. The only thing they do is travel overseas because
And
they're given 1,000. But they don't live in hotels, they live in their friends or relatives.
you need to
And they
tell
and they don't even have to prove receipts or whatever. As long as you're out of the country, you get. And
Senate.
you tell me, one parliamentarian is an energy expert, is devolution expert, is is
Green
technology
energy.
expert, is IT expert, is diplomacy expert,
Ca-
is local government expert, is
Mhm.
education expert, and you just tell me. I mean, while other people don't even get to travel. So
They're milking
it
Kenya.
starts
They're
from
milking the country.
they're
Right.
milking it, and
Mhm.
you know what? Because they're milking it, they don't have anywhere to spend it. They're
Yeah.
spending it on goons so that they can suppress
The worst
any
the worst
kind of voices that speak
and,
against their evils.
and the worst part, based on what Jeffrey's saying, Nick, is that
Mhm.
you know these people use the idea of benchmarking, traveling outside the country for benchmarking purposes. Let's ask ourselves what does benchmarking means.
They even
So
travel to Alaska.
benchmarking at a very basic level, benchmarking means going to understand what is done elsewhere, how something works, so that you
Yes.
can be able to simulate the same idea or
Mhm.
process out back in
Mhm.
your own country. Now, How many MPs and senators have come out of Kenya, maybe to the US or travel to London or travel to South Africa for benchmarking? And do we see any transfer of technology, any transfer of knowledge back
Yeah.
into Kenya, into their own
Mhm.
constituencies from these benchmarkings? No,
Mhm.
which means that the return on investment for using that per diem that they used to go for benchmarking
It's zero.
is zero. And that is gone just like that.
Mm.
At that particular time, when an MP comes to the US, maybe stays for about 4 days or let's say 1 week,
Mm.
there that is $7,000.
Mm.
$7,000 if you multiply Kenya at a flat rate maybe of 100 shillings a dollar. So that's about
7 million.
7 million shillings that an MP has spent.
Maybe 8 million, 9 million there.
Right. Now, tell me, what could that 8 million, 9 million have done to that constituency if that
Buy
money was
3, 4 dialysis machines.
correct? So, so the question is, why aren't Kenyans the constituents asking these questions?
Let me answer you. Let me answer you that very, very fast. Just interject. And this is a question that this is an answer that I've always had, that we are a replica of the leaders who are in office. If your MCA is a thief, then likely you are also a thief. If you elected the MP who is a thief, then high chances that you are a bigger thief. And if you support a governor who is stealing from you, there is a high possibility that you are also going to steal from somebody else, because
Right.
we have tolerated it for too long. Yeah, continue, Julius.
So that and that you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right because if you are so concerned about your own constituency as constituents, then you always want the best for your constituency. You know,
True.
back in the day, Nick, back in I want to say like around 1990, 1991, 1992, 93 there, you know, a place like Homer Bay constituency had somebody like Professor Umamoga.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, this what this guy did, he was
The
not even
scholar.
yeah, was a scholar. He set up a constituency office in every ward.
Mm-hmm.
He had an office.
Mm.
And in these offices, he stationed personnel, people that stayed in, kept these offices running, and these people would they maintained manual registers for whoever visits the office, their concerns, and what they want the MP to be able to do for them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that was a process. We don't see that nowadays.
Ah,
You
no,
know, and
no.
and these are guys that did not have CDF. They were relying on their own
Those
salaries.
guys did a good job. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
they
they
were
were
relying on their
serious
own
people.
salaries, but they
Mm.
visited their constituencies almost every weekend. They were in their constituencies, walking, moving around,
In fact,
and running around.
they love their job.
They
In
Yeah,
love
fact,
they
their
love their
job.
they
job.
love
So
their
so you
job.
Uh,
you tell me what
Mhm.
let's look at Homer Bay right now. What does the Homer Bay we have all these MPs. What have they done to Homer Bay constituents for the past 20 years?
Baba Tano, Baba for president. That's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Mm.
These are wrong people. These people don't understand their job in the first place.
Well, this time
Mm.
there is no Baba that we Baba needs people who are going to fight for him there. There is no there this time.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
why
Mm.
there is
Wapi
right here on the
against
ground. Umewafanyia watu nini?
yeah,
You're
show us
given
your report
money,
card.
you're
Umefanyia watu
given
kitu gani?
apparatus, you're given police officers to travel, you're given a car, you're given a house in Nairobi. But what do you do to help that lady who is selling mangoes on the streets?
Yeah.
Look
That's
at
what
the
that is the question, Nick.
look at the economy of the U.S. and a senator who is in D.C. Coming to D.C. They share a house, like
Mhm.
three senators sharing a room. They share a house,
Yes,
pay rent because
Yeah.
yes,
it's so
yeah.
expensive for them, and they don't want to own this
No,
property,
because no,
and
because
they will
they
be
no,
paying taxes.
no,
Oh
because
Yeah.
yeah,
they're in DC, they're in DC to
Hmm.
legislate.
to
That's it.
Yeah.
legislate. Yeah.
Mm. I have to pick up a phone,
I
so
have a serious
yeah.
issue with, Nick, when it comes to all these things. I also have a very serious issue on the top leadership in Kenya, because that's where the problem starts from. Right now, for example,
Mm.
the current president, President Ruto,
Yes,
it,
Ruto.
it was it was the deputy president for 10 years.
Yeah.
We ask ourselves, did he learn anything from the president, then whoever was the president at that time, Uhuru Kenyatta?
Mm.
Did President Ruto learn anything regarding the job of presidency, being a
Mm.
president, from
Mhm.
Uhuru? Did he realize, did he conduct any type of research, gap analysis to understand, okay, I've seen my boss, the president, is doing this is, but how could we improve the presidency, the role of the presidency? Has he done anything? Because I've not seen anything. What
Mhm.
I've seen a president, an all-powerful president that is using the treasury as his piggy bank.
Mhm.
So it takes us back to what Jomo Kenyatta used to do back then, where every money that was in Kenya in the central bank and at the treasury, he considered that as his money. Why do we allow the president to have access to public money? That's the question. And we are paying that president a salary. We are giving him accommodation. We are giving him transportation. We are giving him workers that work for him. We're giving him everything. Why does such a president have access to our paycheck? I mean, no,
Mhm.
to the checkbook. Why?
Mhm.
That's a good question that Kenyans need to ask. But Kenyans are not going to ask that, because you know what? Because they have managed to psychologically hypnotize Kenyans to think that they who are at the executive level are the most important people, and that the lives of Kenyans are dependent on them. That is not the case. You know, that is not the case, and that is one thing that the next president of Kenya needs to tell Kenyans exactly what are they going to do differently for Kenyans, and how do they plan to transform the office of the presidency, so that the office of the presidency can be a value office for Kenyans, instead of it being just a ceremonial office for stealing
Mm.
Kenyan money and land and resources and assets, and everything is being taken by whoever holds the office as the president. You know?
Yeah, you are right. You are just hold on a second. You are right, Julius. You are very very right about the Kenyan position and the kind of leaders that we want. But there's one question I always ask myself, and I ask the audience as well.
Mm.
Guys, I can see you are watching us from Tembei TV and Africa 24 and Tembei Express and True TV. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for loving the conversation. If you've not subscribed to Africa 24, please do so that we can have these lovely speakers each and every time, once in a while, on this channel. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your likes. Go to my page, Freak24, subscribe, like, share. Anything that you'll do will take us a long way. We've As we wind up this conversation, Julius, a lot is going throughout in my mind, and I'm tempted to ask you one important question that I always ask my guests when they come to this show. Who is your ideal presidential candidate from the lineup that we have right now?
Right now, quite honestly, I lean more towards the ticket of somebody like Edwin Sifuna and Babu Owino, because I
Mm-hmm.
think that the way they've spoken
Mm-hmm.
takes us back to constitutionality. They've said that the simplest way, the basic way to to be able to see the relevance of politics in Kenya is to go back to the constitution. Just stick to the constitution and and enforce the laws as they are prescribed in the constitution. Those statutes are there for a reason. And right now, somebody like President Ruto, he has
Mm.
not done that. He has not done much within the period of time that has been given to to showcase that he's actually up to the job.
Mm.
One is done a lot of damage when it comes to constitutionality of that particular office. The
Mm.
office of the president has become a free fall, whereby every jack trader walks into the office of the president, and deals are being conducted from the office of the president corridors, and there's no transparency. State House is supposed to be a sacred place where it's an office that is owned by Kenyans, by the taxpayers. Kenyans are the ones that maintain the office. First of all, open up the doors, open up the gates.
Mhm.
Remove all. You can have security personnel stationed there, the GSU or any paramilitary people that guard the place. But any Kenyan who pays taxes should be able to have free access to that office. Make up tours. Let people be able to come to that place and understand what is this secrecy about the state house. Let people walk in under supervised and conducted tours, so that the people can be able to understand this state house, that which houses the presidency. Number two, I look at the joint opposition. They don't seem to understand what their vision is. They've lost the vision. You know. Now,
Mm.
there's a lot that is being talked about. People like Gashagwa, the impeached, deputy president.
Mm.
To me, quite honestly, he comes out as a bitter man, and it would be nice for him to be able to get to the bottom of why he was impeached and understand it. And from what I understand, I think the court systems has kind of made it very clear to him that his impeachment stands. But I
Mm.
think that justice needs to be done still. If he has any reasonable grounds to appeal, that file should be reopened, and he should be able to understand, because it destroys his political career. But one thing that I don't like is, I don't like the rhetoric, because what he's doing is polarizing the nation, and at the same time is also destroying the unity and the harmony that the country needs. Um, if we come down to the people, why do I think that Sifuna and Babu are a good ticket now? Now,
Mm.
these are two. First of all, they're young people. They're younger. They're from a younger generation. They
Mm.
are very close to the Gen Zs.
Mm.
And we know that from the landmark demonstrations that the Gen Zs recently conducted, that uh, brought in a lot of changes in Kenya and woke up the administration. I think that they can resonate with the Gen Z's population, that demographic.
Mm.
I think Sifuna being an advocate, and given is both of them actually, Sifuna and Babu, they're both lawyers. They understand the laws. They understand the constitution. Now, I think that is an advantage, but really, they should be able to explain to Kenyans, come out and articulate to Kenyans exactly what kind of change they want to bring to Kenya. How do they want to do it? How do they want Kenyans to be part of it? Because that's very important. You know,
Mhm.
like I said, I'm leaning towards them, but I'm still open, depending on how they articulate what their vision is. How are they going to be able to transform the mess that Kenya is in today, and bring Kenya back to the playing board? That's going to be the most difficult job. If they can be able to tell us exactly their manifesto, in terms
Mhm.
of that also outlines the strategic goals and measures, and and approach that they're going to put in place to ensure that Kenya, that they are doing everything they can legislatively, and to undo all the damage that the Ruto administration has already done. plus what the previous administrations before President Ruto have done to Kenya, then
Mhm.
I will be completely on board. But I think for a start, we need a totally different mindset. You know, we need a president that will be able to resonate with the ordinary Kenyans, not just those who have already been given the carrots at the very top that
Mhm.
already know how to steal money. We need a president that understands that this is the way to run a country. And I think if I look at what we have, I think Sifuna and Babu Owino ticket actually gives me that kind of hope. And I'm glad that they're also younger members of a younger generation. They are focused on the damage that has already been done. They want to be able to make to transform Kenya from that. I'm rooting for them.
Wow, I think I need to add a lot. I mean, I've got some contrary opinion to whatever view, but let me put the same question to Geoffrey. Geoffrey, in as we wind up, who is your ideal presidential candidate for president in 2027? In regards to the kind of leaders that we have who are positioned themselves for leadership in 2027.
That's a good question. I think that's me, you, or Julius, right? I think it's someone, it's people who are transformational. I don't think that it should be confined to the current players. I think
I want us to confine to the current players because they're the people who have
uh,
shown interest. You have not
yeah,
shown interest that you want to run for president. I
yeah.
want,
For the current
yes.
players who have shown interest, have all been a disappointment to me.
Mhm.
So you know, in terms of a president, what I expect from a president is not just somebody getting the position to be
Mhm.
called a president and visit the US and walk in the Rose Garden. That is being, I don't think, to me, that doesn't add value. But I think what adds value to me is when I go home every December or January and I see the life of poor people, ignorant people, illiterate people, I see their life transformational. I see them moving from living from animalistic structures to human structures. I see them. I see Nairobi clean. I see Homa Bay clean. I see a green country. So, to answer your question, I'm still watching who can really capture what I really expect from somebody who embodies the National Unity Office. Because I
Okay.
think
Oh,
I think Ruto came in because he was ambitious. He wanted just to be there. He wanted to be in the executive and have access to public funds and budgeting and steal as much as he wants. And they've done it. I don't think someone else needs to come in with the same notion as people are getting older and someone is getting into the office and stealing. I think we need somebody
mm,
like Traore. We need someone like the former president of Tanzania, Magufuli. People who are revolutionary, who can revolutionize a system and make sure that the system works for the people.
mhm.
Now that's what I'm looking forward to. But right now, I'm watching. I don't see anyone. They've not interested. I'm not interested in either. And maybe I'm seeing I'm
Me.
seeing I'm seeing uh,
You.
I'm seeing for people who have really declared the
Yeah. People who have declared their interest in the presidency.
I don't know who has declared because I
Okay,
only say
let me give you
yeah.
names of people who
Hmm.
have declared.
Hmm.
Kalonzo has declared interest that he wants to run for president.
Hmm.
Martha Karua has declared interest that he wants to run for president. Ruto is the current president, and of course, he's going to defend his seat. Um and you no Eugene Omala, no. Gashagwa has declared interest. Those are the main players in the in the
Okay,
But
I'll be
Gachagua is
very quick. I'll
impeached.
be very
Gachagua
quick
is
in
impeached. So
responding. Let
Matiangi and Maraga.
no, let me be very quick in
Mm,
responding to you,
yeah.
and just bear with me. Just give me a minute or two, and let me respond.
And before you
Martha Karua.
before you start responding, I
Mhm.
also need you to respond to this other question. And Julius, also, I need you to respond. I need you to give me three standards that you're looking at when it comes to the president of Kenya. At least 3 points that you're really, really serious
Mhm.
about,
Mhm.
that you want to see an ideal president of Kenya.
Yeah. So okay,
Well,
let's start with Martha Karua.
Mm.
I don't have a problem with her, but I have a problem with her when they manipulated the 2007 election in favor of a tribesmate.
Mm.
Now, that's number one. I don't want a president who can manipulate a system when they have power. Let's talk of Kalonzo. Good man, but he joined Kibaki at a time that the country needed him. But he joined Kibaki because of a position of a vice president. I don't want someone who can easily be manipulated just as long as they get a position. Number three, you say Ruto tested and failed, flat failed, nothing else to add. Number four, Natiangi, when he has power, he can deport someone like me because he thinks I have the opportunity to live in America. And if I come to Kenya and speak about Kenya, and he has the powers, he can deport me to make people think I am not Kenyan. Outright wrong. He has to apologize. I don't know what was his intention to deport Miguna, but that
Mm.
was wrong. I don't support Miguna. I don't support his political ambitions, but you cannot be a superior human being who is a citizen in Kenya more than another citizen in Kenya just because you have a power in government. Number four, Maraga, probably the only one I can support. He worked and judged against a system that was threatening even his own life, but he stuck with people and made sure that the ruling was wrong because elections was not right. So maybe Maraga is the person I can go with. Now, the other question you asked, what are the three things? Number one, integrity. Number two, your background, ethics. Who are your friends? What do you do? How have you become successful? Number three, do you believe in Kenya? And do you believe in a transforming Kenya? That's it. I don't care that people come into politics to be rich. That is their prerogative. And anyone who measures richness, no one cares, even if you own the world, right? Nobody really cares. But integrity, who are your friends? How have you made it? And number three, how are you going to transform a country that is comprised of 75% poor people? Now, those are my main things. And I think, Nick, if we do that and start cutting people out based on what I've said, Kenya can really move on.
I think you're
yeah,
absolutely right. Julius, can you jump in because there
yeah.
from the
Yeah,
candidate
that's my apple
So,
juice.
so
My voice
I
get dry, so I have
so,
to
so,
drink apple juice. Sorry.
okay,
so I,
it's okay.
I totally, I totally concur with what Jeff has said because even though I singled out
No,
Sifuna and Babu,
Jeff has really contradicted your point because one, you
absolutely.
told
No,
me.
no, in a way, somehow, but not fully, because the thing is this. Even
Mm.
though I said Sifuna and Babu Ticket, I was looking at a younger generation, and
Oh yeah.
I was
Mhm.
looking at the trending aspects of what their rhetorics
Mhm.
touch on, which is service to the people, basics back to the constitution, constitutionalism, and rule of law. That is one of the reasons. I don't know their character. I don't know who
Mhm.
Sefuna is as a person. I don't know who Babu Owino is as a person. Despite what we already, some of the things that was circulated when he allegedly or whatever shot somebody, some DJ at a club. We don't know those circumstances. So again, those ones are things that we're leaving up to the authorities that are concerned with with running background checks, like Jeffrey said, background is a very important thing to look into as far as being able to determine candidacy. So I think that in a way, without specifically, and I would like to re-clarify this, I would say that even though I mentioned Sefuna and Babu, that is not to mean that those are specifically the ideal candidates. I'm looking at them in terms of a framework of what they stand for: constitutionalism, rule of law, and equity, and proper way of running a country. Now, when it comes to three things that are that I think are very important to me, I think integrity, which is already outlined in Chapter 6 of the Constitution, that is very critical. You know, integrity of a person. Two, the character of that particular person. Character in the sense of how does that person, when we look at that person in terms of their moral conduct, moral character, behavior, everywhere they have ever worked in, whatever they have engaged in, whether as a volunteer or as an employee or as an owner of a business, how have they conducted themselves as a person? That is very important as well. Three is the love for country and the people. If you love something, Nick, if you truly root for something, you're gonna do everything possible in your powers to ensure that you do everything right by what you believe in, which is for that country. Where do those people stand when it comes to being patriotic for Kenya as a nation, as a republic, and for Kenyans, not tribes, as Kenyans, because you're aspiring for the highest office of the land. Do you believe in Kenyans as one people? Those are three things that I think any person running for office should be able to come up and convince every single Kenyan that I truly stand for this. And based on their behavior, based on their rhetorics, based on their past viewpoints, based on their everything they've posted, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on any other social media platform, we should be able to vet that and be able to know that this person is truthful. And it all boils down back to the same aspect: integrity. Is that person the right person that you believe will not be compromised at some point? So again, when if I look at a candidate like Maraga, I think Maraga exhibited that there's some questionable aspects in terms of how he ran the office as the chief justice. Certain questions, but again, those are we are all human beings. We have our shortfalls, we have our weaknesses, and we have our strengths. But I think when it comes to the idea of integrity, I think Maraga is a person who upholds integrity. His character, I think, is a very, very moral person when it comes to his character. So,
Yes.
so if we were to vote today and actually say, um, who can actually steer Kenya to the right direction, it will be Maraga. But
Thank you.
again, I think Maraga has to do a whole lot more to sell himself to Kenyans, so that Kenyans who are thinking differently, Kenyans don't reason like the way we are reasoning in this conversation right now. Most Kenyans don't. They don't factor in many of the things that we've already talked about. And I wish that Kenyans could actually pause and come back to their senses and start looking at it in terms of, like, what is best for us as Kenyans. You know, if everybody in Kenya could take a chance and look at themselves in terms of what would I want for my own family, then they would be able to know what they would want for their own country.
Wow, that's a powerful one. As we end this particular show,
Yeah, and then Nick, you remember that being a president There's no experience until you're a president, right? Yeah, you remember Obama, a lot of uh, opponents for Obama talked about lack of his experience. But, you know, he said they can talk about experience, they're right. But he has to be a president to be experienced on the job. Ruto is now experienced on the job for 4 years. And his fifth year is still failing. He's still appointing people that speak his language because he believes that people who speak his language will safeguard his interests. Which means he's still looking at Kenya as his own tribal unit. Is the Gen Zs gave him a second lifeline. What happened? Hmm? He has
He's blown it
he
up.
he's blown it up, right? What is he doing? They told him there's some few people we don't want to be in the cabinet. Why? They were stealing money to buy expensive watches and shoes and all that. What did he do? He took them to even better ministries. Okay, which is fine. Those are his friends. But the country is bigger than your friends. Okay? The country takes care of people who nobody knows. And thirdly, every country is now safeguarding their boundaries. Ruto is busy selling citizenships so that he gets more votes to win. You know? No, he just doesn't get it, man. He doesn't get it. He he grew up in Sugoi, had the opportunity to go to, I think, Kenyatta University, and after that joined Moi bandwagon of Youth for Kanu, and started you know, making, wealth from nowhere. So he doesn't get it. He's never had a job. He's
He's
never
a
been
he's
like
a
me and you,
he's
who
a
goes
product of
out.
corruption.
Yes, he's never been recruited because of his merits and his professionalism. All he's got is because he has spoken the Kalenjin language to the Kalenjin powers who are in power. So that's the system he knows. That's the system he knows. And that's why you see his group is hanging out with people with a lot of questionable characters. Huh? You know, he, a president,
I'm coming. I'm finishing, and then I'm coming.
you can mute,
Yeah.
mute, mute,
What do you think?
mute,
What do you think is good for
mute,
Kenya?
Julius, mute. This is a it's a radio show, man. So uh you know you have to ensure that anyway, I lost my school of thought, but that's what I was talking about.
I mean, Nick. When I say sorry, that's my granddaughter. She wanted to. She's a very intelligent girl. She wanted to weigh in, but again,
Julius, she's a
she,
kid.
she's
We're
she's
talking
not
about
she's not going to
political
weigh in.
stuff.
Yeah, no, she's a kid, but I think she thinks even better than people like Ruto, by the way.
No,
So
no, 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 no,
anyway,
no. We're
let
talking
let
about grown people's things.
let me tell you this. Let me say this. You know, I go back to knowing Ruto when back from YK92. I actually did a project for YK92 myself. And under the Cyper project, which was run by Jirongo at the time, Jirongo was the CEO, and Ben Wakungu was actually the MD of Cyper. And they gave me a project through some professor who was Ugandan professor who was working for them, called Dr. Dit back then, and I did the project for them. I did my research, I did my job, I delivered. But the thing is this: I knew from the get go that YK92 was in itself an illegal entity because it was driven by one thing: voter fraud, to be able to manipulate the voting system and the electoral system in Kenya so that every single Kenyan could vote Kanu back to power. That was it. That means that everybody that worked for YK92 in itself believed in the wrong cause for Kenya. They did not believe in the Republic of Kenya. Now, did Ruto believe in the Republic of Kenya? Ruto never believed in the Republic of Kenya. He looked at Republic of Kenya in terms of a tool to be used to either get to power and own that power and do everything that people like Moi were doing back then, where you control the bank, the central bank and the treasury. And that's what we've come to realize right now. Every single president in Kenya has, one way or the other, has stolen something from Kenya, including starting with the assets of Kenya, land, uh, you know, state corporations that they sell and they fight for it to be sold, and then they buy it through proxies, and then they become the owners. Ruto has been involved in all that. Ruto owns land. Ruto owns resources that previously belonged to the to the Republic of Kenya, and is a president right now. Should Kenyans trust somebody like that? I don't even know how Kenyans even were able to trust him. You know, Kenyans should not have made that mistake. But again, I also blame Kenyans, the voters, because think about it. When President Ruto and President Uhuru Kenyatta ran as a ticket back in 2013, were they not people who were actually going through a trial for crimes against humanity? Yet they used that as a basis as a case to show that they were the right people to run for Kenya and to rule Kenya, and Kenyans agreed with them and voted them in. So Kenyans are getting what they deserved, in somehow, you know. Are you there? Are you saying something?
Nick, I think you're mute.
Nick, we can't hear you very well, Nick.
You're mute.
I can't hear you. Yeah, you're on mute. Maybe you're muted, Nick. So anyway, the thing is this. As Ruto getting a second chance, when they ran with Uhuru, they used one common thing of the defiling and mischaracterizing Raila Odinga, and they got to the office.
Yeah, you were muted for a long time.
They got into the office. Then now Ruto and Gachagua ran as a ticket. They said all sorts of things against Raila, again using propaganda tactics, and they managed to get into office. Then Ruto decided to get rid of Gachagua. Now Gachagua stand against Ruto. Gachagua is a bitter man. Is saying all these kind of things that Ruto did this, that Ruto is this and that, but he never said any of those things when he was in office as a deputy president. Which means
but you know what? That's why I keep telling people, in as much as they castigate Gachagua, Ruto must be castigated as well, because both of them were singing the same choir, and both of them run against this fear of mudslining Raila Odinga. That is the reason behind Ruto Gachagua ticket.
Exactly,
both of them. Ruto should not come to people as if it's different from Gachagua. Ruto is Gachagua. Gachagua is Ruto.
Yeah, Gachagua, Ruto.
Yeah,
Ruto,
they're
Gachagua,
stupid people.
They believed on the same principles. They believed in the same ideals. They ran on the same ticket. They ran on the same points. They are one and the same.
Right? Julius and Geoffrey, I've got a caller online who wants to contribute on this topic. Maybe we need to listen to another agenda.
Sure.
Okay. How are you?
Geoffrey, mute.
We are good. I mean, you've been listening to the show. I mean, can you tell us what you can tell our viewers and listeners worldwide about what is happening in our politics, especially what is happening in Homa Bay between Raymond Omollo and this king queen zoning, everything that is on your mind?
Yes, well, thank you for giving a chance to talk about something. I'll just say what is in my mind at this time about this
You're free mute.
Jack and Ruto and Raymond. I think it's a kingpin issue with the Luo Nyanza, because it just last week that we had the MPs that met that were writing letters to Ruto for Raymond to be sacked or something. I think it's the kingpin thing, and I would just be bold and say that it's a Gladys Wanga thing. Gladys Wanga wants to dominate Nyanza province. She wants to be the kingpin. And she's thinking that Raymond being there.
Who is speaking? Can you identify yourself?
My name is Christina Buto, Honorable Christina Buto.
Okay. Go on.
Now, Gladys has an issue with the kingpin. And if you look at it well, only last week they were scrambling about writing letters and meetings about Raymond Omollo. This week, today, Kaluma was the first one to come out and strongly and say that stop dragging Raymond Omollo's name on this politics of Osotsi and that, this and that. Millie Odhiambo and the Nyanza province leaders were coming out in defense of Raymond Omollo. Only Gladys has not come out to defend Raymond Omollo, and she has issues with Raymond. And she's the one championing for the zoning thing in Nyanza, especially Homa Bay.
What issues does she have with Raymond?
She has issues because she thinks Raymond is gaining ground with the Luo Nyanza people.
Mm-hmm.
And Raymond is more popular at this time than her. In her mind, she thinks she can take after Raila Odinga, the influence and what have you, because she's the chair lady. But Raymond is a problem now because she thinks with Raymond there, even if they form the next government with the UDA with Ruto, Raymond will be above her.
Why are you not supporting Gladys Wanga and you are a Mheshimiwa just like her and you are a lady? I mean, why are you sound like you are against her?
I'm not against Gladys Wanga, but I'm against her politics. Her politics are aggressive politics and selfish politics. She wants everything for herself. Yeah, and she's used to Raila Odinga kuweka mkono yake juu that Gladys. So she that power. In her mind, she's not for
they want power.
Yes, whatever Gladys is power. It's not even for the people or working for the people. If you look at Homa Bay County as it is, initially there was projects that were being done, and she was coming up front that she's the one doing them, only for us to realize that she was not the one doing them. It was initiated through Raymond Omollo in the national government. So her problem is she has not done work. Her influence has dwindled. She's not popular anymore. And Raymond is coming like for the people. And she's not for the people. So she has to use her tricks that she used to do with Raila Odinga, with William Ruto, intimidation and force. I want this and I want it for myself.
All right, Mheshimiwa, thank you very much. Let me engage.
It's all about the kingpin. You see, Babu
Owino
coming in. Yes, Babu Owino.
Yes,
he's also against Raymond.
Why?
Kingpin of the Luos.
So I think Nick, what the lady is saying, is exactly what we've been trying to articulate here in very clear terms, that this idea of zoning, whether it's personality zoning or political party zoning, there's no constituency in Kenya that needs a kingpin. Kenya does not need kingpins in political parties. These are not cartels. They're not running drug cartels or drug. That's why
in this case, they are political cartels.
Yeah. So this political cartels. That's if that can be gotten rid of. Trust me, Kenya's political future will just brighten up, because um, why do we why would our whole region look up to one person to define and determine their path
That
politically?
is that is a good question, Julius, because if you look at
And
them,
you Luos also have a care.
everyone. No, no,
Everybody
Nick.
calls
I was
care.
gonna add just what Julius is saying is very important because we all learn from our teachers, right? And we
Yeah.
all learn from our masters. Okay. Let's say we are all slaves and we have one master. We'll all be called the Jacksons, right?
Mm,
Or in Kenya, we'll all be called the Kenyatas or the Odingas, right?
yeah.
So you know what? In political circles,
Mm,
in Luo Nyanza,
mm,
it's the Odingaism since 1992, right?
mm,
And who has Oginga Odinga himself didn't really advance this nonsense, okay? Even though at a time that he was not in government, he could raise somebody's hand, or he could be heard saying, "Hey, give me Uru Nyagoro," and Phoebe CEO will be easily
mm,
re-elected, right? But when Raila came in,
mhm,
Raila became the institution and the enterprise. And you know what? Because of Raila, the brand, so many poor people became wealthy politically. And Raila himself became a magnet because he became someone that just by raising your hand, you're automatically given a job with a monthly salary of about 1 million, right?
mm,
And then you have access to be an elite and go to those downtrodden and nasty looking VIP rooms in the airports, right? They
mhm,
call them Kenyan whatever VIP rooms. Looks like kiosks, right? So
mhm,
these people have learned the game from the master, and you cannot blame them. But then the master is dead. So what happens when the master is dead? When the master is dead, these are going to be the orphans of the master. But then we must recalculate and chart our way forward because the master left us and started dining with those who were killing us. So it's fine. Like the lady is saying, Gladys Wanga, whatever, whatever. You know, Gladys Wanga is a is a mentee of Raila Odinga. Okay, that guy, the PS Omollo, is a mentee of William Ruto. Both of them nonsense. Both of them, do they mean well for the community? No, no. When Raymond Omollo was the PS for Interior, Luos in Nyalenda were killed. Luos in Homa Bay were killed. Luos between Nyakach and Rift Valley were killed. Luos in Nairobi, Kibera were killed. Why? Because of Mandamano, because of Raila Odinga. Who was in charge of security? That the same Omollo. No, that's it. This is nonsense. They better stop this shit. We are not going to play with them. And this is actually the what's going on the ground. Gen Zs want people who can work for them, not those who are working for the mentors. They want people who are working for the people.
Yeah.
That's why people are
Yeah.
going independent.
Nick, let me ask you a question, Nick. Do
yes.
you have any data as far as what the the debt ratio for Homa Bay County is? Do we
The
know?
I don't have the data, but I can find it out. We can have
Yeah.
a show
Yeah.
for that particular because what I know is that the wage bill, they have allocated more funds to paying workers than what they allocate for development in Homa Bay.
Right.
Then the GDP of Homa Bay, what the money they collect each and every month? I think it is under 10 million, roughly. They,
Right.
So,
So
yeah.
Oma, they collect quite a lot of money per day.
when we go back to the basics of leadership,
Mm,
the core principles of leadership, one is accountability, responsibility, being able to manage the resources, the people, and also being able to prioritize correctly. Now let's look at what Gladys Wanga has done, and we can only compare her with governor the previous governor, which is Awiti, because that was the first governor of Homa Bay. If we look at Governor Awete and Governor Gladys Wanga, and we compare the two of them, we find there's zero difference, because the corruption that existed during Governor Awete has even increased under the watch of Governor Gladys Wanga. The county employees, just starting with the county employees, the salaries of county employees has always delayed. And when I talk with some employees of the county government, you know what they tell me? They say that the salary, even though the salary was already appropriated by Parliament, but and disbursed to the county, the governor decides when the salaries should be paid. The question is, why does the governor have the authority to be able to change the appropriation or the allocation of an appropriated fund? And
because the
and
governor has
right
to fund
and
ODM. The governor
right
has to
and
fund
Senate,
ODM
yeah,
issues
yeah,
before the workers of Homa Bay.
exactly,
That is the thing. That is what
and
zoning
Senate
comes in.
and
Zoning
Senate,
comes in
yeah,
so that
Senate
they can control resources of these zoned areas. That's
and
what they're doing.
Senate, which is supposed to be oversighting county governments,
Mhm.
does not even bring this up. I've
It's
never
it's all
heard.
about
I've
manipulation.
never heard the Senate convene any committee meetings to discuss why any specific county employees are behind or in arrears when it comes to their salaries payment. I've never seen. So
No,
when
what you asked something here. You had, and I've googled and I got some answer. You
mm,
asked about how much Homa Bay collects. Homa Bay revenue collection, the money that it collects each and every month is around 100, between 120 million to 140 million per month.
good, just hold it there, Nick.
Yeah.
You and I lived in Homer Bay around the time when
So I was very right.
there was no CDF being disbursed,
Hmm.
and there was very little that was coming from the central government that was coming to the districts. That was
Hmm.
way back during Moi's time.
Mm.
But we went to Homer Bay Primary School for free. We never had to pay so much to
At the
attend school
hospital.
at the hospital. We went to hospitals for free.
The
So you
hospital was
tell
so
me now,
clean. It had
yeah,
water. It had running
yeah,
water.
yeah,
Mm.
30 years, fast track, 30 years. They're
Not
now
not
getting,
only not only running water, it had
yeah.
also hot water. We used
Now
to
they
get hot
now
water
they're
from the hospital.
now they have an extra 100 million Kenya shillings coming into their pockets. Plus what the national government is also sending to them. And you're telling me that
Yeah, I think Julius, in a nutshell,
mm,
Wanga can fight Omollo. That's fine. That is, they can go get a room somewhere and fight. Kenyans, I mean, Kenyans in Homa Bay deserve leadership.
yeah,
And the
they
leadership they
deserve leadership.
deserve is a leadership that knows that when they wake up and you get sick, there's a doctor and the medicine in the hospital.
Yeah.
The
What?
leadership they deserve is when they wake up and their kids go to school, there's quality education.
Yeah. Why does
The
the governor
leadership that
need?
if you
Why does the
walk, oh
governor
no,
need a Prado?
the Homa
Okay,
Why
Bay,
does the
hold
governor
on a
no,
minute.
need
the
a
leadership
high
they
end
need,
vehicle
the
like
leadership
a
they need
Prado?
is that if you walk in Homa Bay at night, there's
Mm.
security lights. The leadership they need, you want to take a shower, there's water coming from the taps. The leadership they need is that if you have an issue, security issue, the police is effectively discharging their duties. We don't want to see Prados, whatever, in Homa Bay. We want to see ambulance and sirens taking care of the sick. We don't want to see choppers and who is flying in them in Homa Bay. We want to see medevats, someone being taken to Kisumu or Nairobi for a heart transplant. That is the leadership Kenyans need. And that's the leadership that laws in Homa Bay need as well. Or more, or not even laws. Anyone who lives in Homa Bay needs that. Thank you.
You guys, I think we need to close the show right now. We have done 2 hours. I mean, it started like a joke, but you've raised legitimate questions. The audience there are wondering. I have got tons and tons of responses that I can't go through right now. But tonight's conversation has been very, very wonderful. Now, in closing, and I mean closing. Julius, let's go with you first. What do you think that moving towards 2027, and you speak very passionately about the county of Homa Bay and how you want it governed. What would you urge the local voter who has got a voter's card to exercise when they go to that ballot in 2027? What should they do? What should they look in a candidate in
Okay, so
2027?
thank you, Nick. And I know we've covered a lot of grounds. We've talked about different topics on during this particular conversation. But now coming back to the reality of what what's on the ground, I think it's very important for the voters, like in Homa Bay, because that's my county. I come from Homa Bay. I care about Homa Bay. I really believe in the people of Homa Bay, and I think that number one, the voters of Homa Bay have to ask themselves, what is best for me in this county? So, number one, if they are going to choose a governor, they have to look at a governor, a candidate that really cares about Homa Bay County. Number one. Number two, a candidate that really cares about the people of Homa Bay. Number three, a candidate that has no issues whatsoever, alleged or otherwise, that their name have not been mentioned in any controversial matters when it comes to misuse of public funds, county funds, mismanagement, abuse of office, at whatsoever. Number three, they need to find a person that a candidate that comes from the county, born and raised in that county. That's the most important thing, because in each and every family, you will not do anything that will jeopardize your family if you are put in a position where you have to make decisions. You're not going to do anything, Nick, that will determine the great Nyang'isa family to the point where the future of Nyang'isa family will be bleak. You will not do that, if regardless of who is telling you what. So they have to look for the son or daughter of the county first. That is primary
Mm-hmm.
before anything. And when I say the son or daughter of the county, they cannot afford to look at somebody who has come into the county through a marriage.
Wow.
That's very, very important, because if the marriage ends, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Where is her loyalty? She's going to punish the whole county because of mistakes that she thinks the husband committed. And that's what we are witnessing right now. I'm not saying that Gladys Wanga and her husband have problems, but obviously everything that she has done, it means she's retributing against Homer Bay for whatever shortfalls that Mr. Wanga himself has committed, and that's disastrous. So
Or
it's very important for us to be able to tell voters that when you are voting, do not do not make a decision based on some handout. 200 shillings, 300 shillings, 50 shillings, 1,000 shillings, 3,000 shillings, 5,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings. Do not sell your county. Don't. Take your time, go through the manifestos, look at your county, consider what your priorities are. Look at the areas where you're lacking: healthcare, education, infrastructure, all that. Look at all that. Look at commerce. Is it easy for you to do business in Homa Bay? Look at all those and ask yourself, has the current governor done anything that can be able to help in any of these areas? If the answer is no, don't vote her. But look for that candidate that is convincingly promising to deliver on those particular areas, and ask them questions. Insist on public debates where you can be able to ask candidates so that you can be able to hold them accountable. Before you vote for anybody, insist on a debate. It could be a town hall sitting, it could be a well orchestrated public debate where there's a moderator asking questions so that these people can be held accountable to their manifestos. That is the part that we need to understand. We need to own that entire process. We need to own the leaders, the candidates that we decide to pick on, that we give the chances to be able to be the leaders in those offices, so that we do not come up and say that we made a mistake. No, you should be able to have reasonable grounds to hold those people accountable and say, the reason why we are impeaching this governor and asking for a recall is because this is what they promised. And they have not done that. It's three months down in their office. They have not made any attempts to do that. That's the only thing that we have to see. And then most importantly, integrity. Look at the integrity of the person. Is that person fit for office? Do they believe in the ideals that they say they stand for? And do their characters and their backgrounds also show that, including their lifestyle? Does it show that? Are they people that are just after affluence? They want nice cars. They want to drive in nice cars. They want to live in big homes. They want to live large, going to parties. Are they all after opulence, or are they after service to the people? Are they servant leaders? We need to ask ourselves that before we cast our vote for that kind of person. And Homa Bay County, trust me, Homa Bay County will be a good place. Moving on to the nation, apply the same standards.
All right.
And we'll be okay.
All right. Geoffrey, I hope you're still around.
Yeah, I'm here. So
your closing remarks.
Yeah, I'll be very, very brief. Okay, because Julius has really captured most of the things. So for me, I don't care where you're born. It's your right to go anywhere in the country and run whatever you want. Number two, I don't care how much big of a house you own or build. It's your money. But what I do care is not stealing public funds to live large. What I do care is not using lineage with a political leader like Raila Odinga to be the head of a political region. Now, there's a lady who said, Kingpin, Kenya has no royalty. So I don't know the last time we had a king in maybe Homa Bay. But if that's what people are fighting for, then obviously I'm in the wrong audience here. Vote for a democratic person, someone who can listen to you, someone who can visit you, someone who wants to know how your small business can turn into a big business, someone who has started a business and the business has become successful without undue influence, someone who is not busy in Nairobi when Homa Bay is running down, someone who is not busy with party politics at the expense of serving the constituents of a county. Okay? Someone who actually wants to work for Homa Bay. I live in Washington, D.C. If I will get the chance to be a governor for Homa Bay, I will move to Homa Bay. I will work for people in Homa Bay. In fact, I will not even look for a home in Homa Bay. I will live in our home in Asombi. and drive every day to Homa Bay headquarters to run the affairs of people. And it's not about opulence, like Julia said. They built a very huge, humongous office in Homa Bay for people who are healthy, people who have big guts, people who are dressed nice to sit in and work for people. Yet you go to Homa Bay Hospital, the Homa Bay Hospital itself looks like a trash, okay? Looks like a trash. And the worst is that she posts these things that she's built a morgue, which is fine, which is fine. But you cannot build a morgue nicely than even the patients who are still living and deserve life before they go to that morgue. Okay? So what am I talking about, Nick? We need a transformational leadership. The people of Homa Bay, stop this nonsense of ODM or anyone that purports to be the party leader, whatever. Parties do not change your household. Individuals, transformational individuals, change your household. And 2 term, 1 term, I don't care. But both were the same coin, but different sides. Just because one has the government doesn't mean he's better. But calculate better and find out why one side is better than the other side. And most importantly, can we chart our own affairs? Do we have to be in a national government? No, I don't think so. The work of devolution was to bring power and services to the people. What the hell are you doing kissing the national government's ass? Let them do whatever they want. There's a time that Moi was a president and I was in Homa Bay High School. And they even closed schools because there was lack of food. Why? Because Nyanza'S schools could not be even given food. There was drought. We were all sent home. What happened? Today I'm in America, 30 years. I've done so many things than people who went to the most elite Moi schools in Kenya, and they've never done even a squat of what I've done in my personal life. So we have to teach our people to do important things for themselves and not depend on the government, like what Kikuyus and Kalenjins have always thought, that they have to be in the government to be successful. Let us, let us elect people who mean well for you, can sustain your life, can go to the hospital, can go to the school, can change your small business, can, instead of driving big Prados, can walk to the office and buy ambulances for you, can ensure that those who have border borders have insurance for the passengers that they drive, so that in case of an accident, people just don't get hurt and no compensation. Okay, can have PSV, affordable insurances, can have insurances owned by Homa Bay, can have banks owned by Homa Bay, can have hospitals owned by Homa Bay, can have hotels for people who want to have fun and go to other leisure places owned by Homa Bayans. That is what devolution means.
Mm.
And that's my last word, is that enough of this party shenaniganism. We cannot tolerate it anymore. Multipartism was for the whole Kenya. Let anyone who is from any different party or even independent be democratically allowed to run and fight and sell their ideas for the people. Let the people buy each and every person's ideas. And that's what I'm what my stand is, Nick, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of the moderation. It's been a very good conversation and I'm looking forward to it. The only thing I can do is add value, but I cannot take value. But
All
adding
right.
value is by communicating and talking about these issues that affect us, because I personally have employees in Kenya and I even pay their medical expenses when the government has paid. I buy their coffins when one of their loved ones die because they cannot afford even to buy a coffin. So let us focus on transformational life. leadership, governance, so that we can start thinking of Singapore. Singaporeans had to go through the worst for them to have a good system. We have to go through the worst by electing the right people and avoiding party shenaniganism to have a very efficient system. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
And
right,
and
all
and
right,
and
Julius.
we have to remember that Singapore started off with Kenya almost at the same time, and unfortunately, while the Singaporean leader at the time thought of Singapore first instead of themselves, our Kenyan counterpart leader Jomo Kenyatta thought of himself first
And his friends.
and his friends before Kenya. So I
All right,
think
we have to close it there, Julius. We can have another show. We'll have another show next time. Tonight's conversation was very very informative, and we have created awareness because once fear becomes part of our politics, it stops being a democracy. And once violence becomes normalized in our society, it becomes very difficult to reverse that. The violence we are seeing back in the country, we cannot reverse that if you don't stop it. Uh, there is a saying that goes by, when fear becomes a political tool, the truth becomes its first casualty. Let me end it there. I want to thank Julius and I want to thank Geoffrey for coming to the show. Thank you guys very much, and I wish to see you next time.